Mum arrested after confiscating kids' iPads and is held in cell for 7 hours. It was 12 hours before she was able to return home. A UK man reportedly spent 7 hours behind bars after being arrested for confiscating her kids' iPads. It turns out that iPads are seemingly essential for schools now. For school kids now, with some in education struggling to remember how to use a pen and pencil, since they are so used to the technology such as Apple Pencils on offer to them. Perhaps the only benefit to Donald Trump's tariffs likely driving up the prices of Apple products and other technology is that we might finally see kids entertained by something other than iPads, such as a book, or did I say the outside world. We can only hope. Those who let their kids look at iPads for hours on end must have a good reason for it, but I suppose it's no different from adults doom scrolling through Instagram and TikTok in the evening. Some tough love here, neither of them are good for you. History teacher Vanessa Brown certainly seems to agree, as she decided to confiscate her kids' technology so they could focus on schoolwork, only to land herself in a prison cell for most of the day after being arrested for theft. The 50-year-old woman was held at Staines police station in Surrey, having taken the iPads with her as she popped around to her 80-year-old mother's house for a coffee on the 26th of March. However, she quickly found herself in cuffs as police dragged her in for questioning after they had been alerted to a potential theft. Speaking to ladbible.com, the mum of two said, "I find it quite traumatic even to talk about this now. At no point did the officers think to themselves, oh, this is a little bit of an overreaction for a moment, confiscating temporarily her iPads or popping over to her mum's to have a coffee. It was just a simple, complete overreaction. It was fully unprofessional. They were speaking to my mother, who was in her 80s, like she was a criminal." Police also visited her children's school, and they were pulled out of a class. A spokesperson for Surrey Police told ladbible.com that a man in his 40s had alerted police to a potential theft, with tracking devices on the technology, leading officers to Vanessa's mother's house. The spokesperson said tracking device on the iPads showed that they were at the address, and a 50-year-old woman from Cobham was arrested on suspicion of theft. A search was then carried using post-arrest powers, and the iPads were located. The woman was subsequently released on conditional bail, while further inquiries were carried out. The police bail conditions include not speaking to her daughters, who were connected to the investigation while officers carried out their inquiries. In these inquiries, officers discovered that the iPods belonged to the mother's children, and that she was entitled to confiscate these items off her children. Yeah, absolutely, I completely agree with that. I mean, how many of us as kids had things taken off us? Whether it be our TVs, whether it be our stereo, computer, laptop, whatever it may be. We had things taken off us as kids because we were naughty or we weren't doing our schoolwork or whatever it may be. And that was perfectly fine back then. And in my opinion, that should be the same way now. Not much has changed. She finally returned to her mother's house at 12 hours after the initial arrest. The bail conditions sadly meant that she was not able to speak to either of her daughters ahead of Mother's Day on the 30th of March, as inquiries were still going on at that time. Oof. Initially, when I saw this story, I was like, wait, what? She was arrested for confiscating her kids' iPads? Really? Like, is that a real thing? Is that what we're doing these days? As in the UK, really gone downhill that much? To the point we're now confiscating our kids' technologies of them and being arrested for it? Like, really? I make light of the situation within the story, by making jokes and whatnot. It's fair to say the police handled this situation very poorly, and they owe this woman pretty much an apology. Especially when it comes to the fact that she was not able to see or speak to her kids on Mother's Day, which was back on the 30th of March in the UK. Like, how low can you get? How ridiculous can you actually get? Police get a bad name all the time, regardless of what country you're from. They always get a bad rep. Sometimes deservedly so, sometimes maybe not so deservedly so. But in this situation, they don't really help themselves, and they really And they've really made a joke of themselves and this country and this so-called law system, in my opinion. Thankfully, however, things were sorted out quickly, and the mother didn't have any more charges pressed against her, even though she should not have been arrested in the first place. The police should have handled the investigation differently, and so on and so forth. I can't even imagine what's going through her head. I can't even imagine what she must be feeling, how angry she must be feeling at the justice system, and just how embarrassing the situation was as well. Not just for her, but also for her kids at the same time. Like, all she was trying to do was get her kids to focus on the schoolwork. That's all she was trying to do. She just wanted her kids to focus on the schoolwork. Nothing else, just the schoolwork. But please let me know your feelings down below. If you're a parent, what are your thoughts on the story? Do you feel like the police overreacted? Are you on the mother's side when it comes to this situation? If you're on either side of this, either the mother's side or the police's side, what would you have done differently? Please share your comments down below. And until next time, take care, stay safe, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.